Welcome back to our weekly Wisdom for Parents lesson for this week. My name is Melanie Soloway.
I'm Deanna Gailey Maud.
And today we're going to talk about ideas for summer fun outside of tech, right? For those of us that are in the US or possibly in other countries around the world where summer is a time off from school. When we get into the summer routine, sometimes it can be a little overwhelming with sometimes how much time there is. And in today's day and age, I think so many parents can fall so easily back into just, the kids are tired if they've gone to camp, they come home, or, on the weekends, and the kids, because of the dopamine rush from the tech, there's such a pull to be on technology. And so what can we do to counteract that and make sure that kids are really doing things that are fun and engaging outside of tech time?
Well, I don't know about you, Melanie, but when I was growing up on a farm in Texas, um, it was go out after your breakfast, go outside, and don't come back till lunch, and then after lunch, go outside, don't come back for dinner. So that was our plan. We played outside all day, and that was the plan. But we didn't have the technology as a challenge that parents do today. And so I think we have to create, and the level of oversight has increased so significantly. Like you can barely leave kids alone. You're like, you got to be checking on them, making sure they're playing appropriately and they're not outside alone. So just these are some ideas I think that we can come up with.
Yeah, and I think like for me, actually, where I grew up, there was school all year round, right? And we actually, our summer was actually in December, and we had 3 weeks off, over the holidays. So it was, December, beginning of January, and we would usually that was the family vacation time. And then the rest of the year was pretty much school. So there wasn't that for me growing up. And certainly there was much more like, you could just go outside and play when you were home. Or bike riding with friends or going over, we would just literally show up at each other's doors and knock on each other's doors. And so when my kids were little, though, like there was definitely much more of this. Like I was faced with now having my kids off school for 3 months and looking at, and technology was around. And so I really did need to look at what can we do to have fun instead. And so part of this is, yes, there is more oversight, but I think for me, there was also that mindset shift that we've spoken about to make sure that I was in the mindset of that I was having fun too. Like I was having fun with them. And what were things that we could all do as a family? And I think it was really cool that we would have family meetings and sit down and I would suggest things, but then I would also ask the kids, what do you want to do? What's fun for you, kind of thing, right? And so we would create days around some of these ideas that you and I have spoken about.
Well, I think some of the areas that I think are great to consider are, outdoor adventures. Like what can you do to set up, either short term, walk around the block, look at the flowers, check out the neighborhood kind of adventures, or even a day away at a local lake or park where you pack a picnic and take a frisbee and balls and hang out at a park, and teach your kids just be outside and enjoy the outside with them, really take in the nature. It's so grounding and healthy for all of us. And, even a fun weekend getaway might be a camping trip where they really get to see what it's like to just be out in nature and the exploration, the very adventurous type of days, or even relaxing days like by the pool or at the beach.
Right. And even camping in our backyards can be really fun, or setting up a fort in the backyard, right? Like really like taking cushions or outdoor chairs or outdoor furniture and setting up like a camp site outside. I mean, we did that, which was really fun, and set up a camping site and bring in our books and bring in our flashlights and have even a picnic outside, maybe if there's a fire pit or some access to some sort of fire that you have to do s'mores,
Right. Yeah,
right?
exactly. I remember one year I gave my kids a camping birthday party where we sat outside. We would have outdoor movies. We could put out a screen and watch movies on the neighbor's wall, and and set up tents, and we had a popcorn machine. It was such a blast. They
Oh,
so
that
much.
that
And
does.
another area I think is kind of important is to keep the creativity, you know, percolating, like keep their minds creative and active and set up, painting and arts and crafts and do it yourself projects, build something with them together or bake something with them, even garden. What a wonderful skill it is to learn how to plant, you know, plants and see them grow. And it's such a great nurturing experience.
Yeah, and in terms of like what you were saying about the arts and crafts or the baking, I mean, that can be an indoor or outdoor activity, right? And then other indoor activities we can do is have like a game day or a game night or game time, right? Whatever it is, and really like just lean in and have fun with it. I mean, it's one of the things, like I remember when my kids were younger, especially, because I have developed and discovered that I do enjoy games. But when they were younger, there were some games that I didn't really enjoy that much. And when I reframed it and I thought, this isn't about the game. Sometimes Monopoly would go on forever, and if I would just like look at it and be or like some of their little, I remember my son had like these little action figures, and it wasn't really my thing. But when I really reframed it and thought, this is about me spending time with him and with them, right? Whichever, if I was with any individual son or there was like the group of them. And then certainly making these kinds of plans with friends,
Right.
you
No,
know?
some of my favorite times were when we would make it would might be bad weather outside, and we'd make forts inside the house, and then get flashlights and read books together and listen to music and have dance parties, and yeah, really, just really be present and have fun with them and play games and different things like that. I also like educational opportunities for them as well, like to really mix it up to, obviously encourage them to read, take some trips to the library, let them explore the library and look around and see what, they're drawn to, and then even do it yourself at home. Science projects and experiments are so much fun. We used to, obviously, the typical one with the, oh, now I can't, the peppermint things you put in the bottle of Coke and it explodes up. We did that a lot. And then, maybe even museums or educational science museums and things like that are really valuable learning and great long activities for the kids. It really wears them out.
Yeah. And on that, even picking a summer book, right? For a family book to read all together and have family time where you can rotate the book and everyone can read, right? If your kids are they old enough to read, or if they're younger, obviously you could choose like a series, but actually have a book that you read aloud to each other or that you listen to, right? It could be like, oh, we're gonna, all sit down together and listen to a book. So, and which can be very educational and super fun if it's a fun and interesting, if it's a fun and interesting book, right? So
I think one of the areas too that's really important to encourage your children is to take downtime without technology. Like, what is it like to rest or take a nap or, lay outside in the grass or, just relaxation time to rest. I think it's
and
underrated.
sorry, what, love?
Underrated.
I still didn't hear what you said.
Relaxation time is underrated.
Oh, is underrated. That was the part. I thought you said X-rated. I'm like, what? That's why I was like, wait, what? What? It's I knew
That's another
I knew I
lesson.
wasn't I knew I wasn't hearing it right. I'm like, wait, say that again. But and then another thing that's actually underrated is boredom. Boredom is a fantastic opportunity for kids to discover and create and explore. Like when my kids were younger, especially, and told me they were bored, there was that little inner voice that would be like, yes, and then it would just be, instead of me sort of going, okay, well, what can I do to entertain them? I would sit back and go, oh, okay, so what can you do about that? I don't know. Okay. I I I trust that you can figure this out. And then I would go into the room or go in, like I remember like going into the garage and like a whole structure was being built. Their minds got really active from that, sometimes sitting, like what you're saying, just that downtime that actually sometimes can create boredom, can actually create some really fun, creative, and it's really important for them to have that time to do that and have their brains to develop like that.
I think that that is one of the things that technology has taken from childhood is boredom. I know growing up for me, I was painfully bored often, and I had to come up with something to do. Like even if that was sweeping all the pine needles off the forest floor and making houses, pretend houses and stuff, and climbing trees. I just like it inspires you to create.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I know like some of this really does last right into the teenage years and into adulthood when we do plant these seeds when they're younger. I mean, I just keep thinking, Deanna, as I'm listening to you, I know that like your son goes on hikes with you relatively often, actually, to
Yeah.
this day, right? I mean, he's 17 and you'll still go on these beautiful hikes with him because it was so instilled in him. And like 2 weeks ago, when my son, who now just recently turned 18, came home, he actually, when he was outdoors, he had been on this like outdoor adventure thing, and he literally like carried rocks home with him. And I was like, and he had these like he had like, and there were little rocks, and one of them he had actually picked for me. He was like, well, that's the one for you, mom. Like it was a rose quartz. He knows I like crystals, and so he picked a rose quartz for me, which was really sweet. But some of this, and even though like he'll say he doesn't like that, but it's like that it's instilled,
Yes.
you know.
So I guess overall, in some ways, we're just looking at opportunities to connect with our kids over the summer and create some sort of a structured and let participation where they're included and they get to choose, and you guys can, we all can create fun days together.
Yeah, and it doesn't even have to be a whole day, right? It can just be like certain times throughout the summer. And so what we want to do, I think, is really be flexible with our time and then also ensure that there is some structure
Mm.
inside of it because kids do thrive and need the structure. So although we want to be able to like let our hair down and let loose a little, I do think it's still important to have some structure inside of maybe still have bedtime, and so that they stay on a regular routine to wake up. I mean, there can be flexibility with it, but I think structure is still very important, because I think that that's what, I don't even think it's just kids that need that. I think we all need it, and especially kids. Otherwise, they're going to get overtired and exhausted and act out, and then it, ends up derailing and unraveling stuff. So I think that that's important too.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. Well, we wish all of you out there to have some fabulous connecting summer fun with your families.
Absolutely. And if you want support, or to come and share ideas with other parents or find out what other parents are doing, join us at our weekly support group that we do on Tuesday at 12 p.m. Pacific. And the next one we will have will be this coming Tuesday on the 25th. I think I already said 12 p.m. Pacific. Did I say that? And the Zoom,
Not the 25th, June 8th.
no, the next one from this recording is going to
Oh,
be on June the 25th.
got it.
And on Tuesday, June the 25th. And the Zoom link will be in the Facebook group, the Raising Enlightened Children Facebook group. And also, if you have any questions for us, please send them in to info@Raising Enlightened Children. And we'd love to do a lesson around whatever it is that you have a question about.
Great.
So we'll see you soon, hopefully. Bye.
Now.